Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal. This is going to be another angle, if you didn't see the other video, of changing tires on the Tesla Model 3 that we have. And it was due for new tires. So anyway, this is the last tire we're doing. And I'm going to show you how it's done. So it takes out the mystery of changing a Tesla tire that a lot of people have asked. But anyhow, this is actually a vent cover. And to get over, it's basically a hubcap cover. You just basically grab it on either end, and then you just pull and it comes right out. And then you need a 21 millimeter lug nut socket to remove these. And then the tire comes right off. And it's a good time to actually inspect your brake pads, even though you get the charging while you're braking per se. These pads are in good shape, so we're good there. And we're going to roll the tire over here. And if the compressor comes on, I apologize. We will try to pause to limit that noise. And take the cap off. Then we're going to remove the valve stem. And this is a good time to remove the wheel weights. So we got some up here. I'm using a non-marring spatula to remove this. So we got that weight off, and then we have a bigger weight down here at the bottom. It's going to take a little effort to get. All right. So remove the weight there. Now we're going to come over on this side. And these are run flats, so they are a little difficult to get off. So we're going to spray it down with some bead ease. And then we're going to set this up. Make sure you keep your valve stem down at the bottom, out of the way, because you don't want to nick the TMS sensor. The TPMS. There we go. Come here. Flip past that so we don't break the TPMS sensor. Just like a light little tap. Flip the tire around and make sure that you keep an eye on your pressure sensor. We'll spray it down. Tire sensor right on the other side, so we'll just give this a light little tap here. Okay. Alright, now we got the bead completely broken. And we're going to put it on the tire machine. Then we're going to let the pedal up so it grabs the rim. Now, since this has a cover, a hub cover on this, the way I just did this is going to actually put little marks into the aluminum alloy rim. And you can expect that from pretty much any tire shop. It does have hooks on the inside that can actually grab onto the rim. However, since we basically drive with this with the hubcaps on, and this is already marred from the hubcap, we're basically just going to keep that. However, your preference, let your tire shop know. We're going to pause here until that compressor quiets down, and we'll be right back. Alright, so the compressor finally shut off, and what you want to do is you want to position your duct, because that's what this is called. Duct on the rim that way, and this is basically your pry area. But you also want to make sure you have a helper arm, and if your machine doesn't have one or you're thinking about getting one, get the helper arm. It's a lifesaver, believe me. So you get your spoon, and what you're doing is you're pushing down and you're scooping up on a tire. And sometimes you got to push around. And there we go. You want to pull it over the duct's head, and then we'll start pulling up, and then you can lift your helper arm out of the way, and then lift that right up. And then you want to get your valve stem over on this side, and like I said, it's going to be, you want that angle that if this is your 12 o'clock, 6, probably around like 7, 8 o'clock in that area, away from your duct. So you're about the bottom 1/3 of your tire. Okay, now the tricky part is going to be getting this next piece up. So we're going to bring the helper arm back into place. We're going to bring it down. We're going to just use that to hook and bring the tire up in the air, so it's kind of like balancing. And then we are going to go in here. We're going to grab the other part of that tire. We're going to bring it up and over. And then we're going to bring the helper arm out of the way. Drop our spoon. And then, boom. And like I'd shown on the other video, if you've ever seen the inside of a Tesla tire, or basically an acoustic dampening tire, it has this foam piece on the inside. That's what makes the tire run a lot quieter than a normal tire. And if you rip it back, you can see where they glue it to the inside of the tire. So if you ever need to plug your tire, they basically have to rip this up, put the tire patch in or plug, then put your foam back down. But anyway, that's the old tire. Let's get the new ones. Alright, so this is your Continental Extreme Contact, and it's basically made for dry, wet, and snow. So it's an all-season tire, performance tire. So it's got a nice good tread pattern to it. And it is a directional type tire. And what I mean is, you have to find the inside. Oh, here it is. So it will say inside. So that is going to be the part of the tire that faces the inside of your car. And then on this side, it should have an outside right there. Outside. So this is basically going to be on what the face of your rim is going to be. And I like to use something, a product called Rooglide. And you can never have enough lubricant on your tires. So definitely don't be sparing with it. Use as much as you can so you get a good coat on it. And then you want to make sure that you go around your rim so it makes it easier for the tire to bead once we get to that point. Okay, so normally tires have colored dots on them, but since we ordered these online through an online store, going through the shipping process, going down slides, like at some of the big box carriers, the dots wear off. So what I like to do is I kind of like to try to line up with the barcode on the inside lip with your valve stem. And again, you want to make sure that you move your valve stem into that like 7 o'clock position. So right about there. And then we will mount that tire. We'll bring this over. We'll get the ducts situated. And what we are doing, probably a tough angle to get from, but we're just pushing down on the tire and the duct will pull the tire onto the bead. This will be a better angle so you can see exactly what we did on the inside of the tire. And again, since this is a low profile tire, they are very difficult to mount. So I like to put on just another bead of Ruglide. Make sure that we get that going. And this time we're actually going to be pushing the tire bead underneath the duct's head, right by the bill, to give you a general idea of what we're doing. And again, an assist arm makes this job a lot easier. So I push down and then I start moving the tire around and make sure that it stays underneath there. Now what you got to do is you come on this side, you want to have the tire come into the well of the rim, and this is going to be the well part. See that little bead? That's where your bead is going to sit for the tire. So you want to push it down, but I need an assist arm, the second one, which is this little roller, and then you want to push down on the bead just a little bit. And the same thing, we're keeping the well down so this tire mounts properly. And then that's all you have to do. Let me get the assist arm out of the way. Move that out. The duct out of the way. Now we're going to move this into the fill position. And we still don't put the valve stem in yet. So we connect it to the air, and now we're going to mount it. We're waiting for 2 distinct pops. One from the bottom, one from the top. And that will indicate that the bead has seated. And I don't go beyond 35 pounds of pressure. So, and if you see the gauge over on this side in a little bit, I'll show you what I mean. That's 1. And you can see the gauge, and that's 2. See how we're not in that green area? That's actually 30 to 40 pounds. I like to put it at 35 for balancing purposes. So that's just kind of like my go-to weight. And with a low profile tire, these fill out really quick, so you have to keep an eye on it. Oops, forgot to put the valve stem in. Alright, valve stem's in. You get that tire pressure back up. And again, we kept the tire stem out because you need the most air that you can into a tire so you can mount it so the bead's set. Anyway, this tire is done. Now we will go to the balancing part, which is always stressful for me, but alright, so we put this onto the tire machine, balancer. Then we're going to lock it in place. Make sure it's tight. And we are going to clean the tire, or the rim railer. So I use a mixture of a couple drops of Dawn, degreaser, and water. And then I use just a regular scrub brush on the inside. Just clean the inside of the rim because we're going to be putting stick-on weights, so you want that to be clean. And I run over with a paper towel to get some of the grime off. Alright. I'm going to spray the outside of this tire with the degreaser because we're going to wash this down because you want to keep these rims clean, because when the brake dust accumulates on the inside of the tire, or inside of the rim rather, and you put the hubcap back on, it kind of mars it a little bit. So we're staying proactive. All right, now I'm going to use some brake cleaner to really clean the inside of the rim. And then again, we'll wipe it down with some paper towels just to clean it thoroughly. Okay. And we see on the last video what we did is basically I pulled this out and we got the distance, which is 42, and then we're going to do a bridge, which is how wide your tire is, to let the computer know. So it's 9 inches. So we hit the 9, and then diameter is 18, which we already had pre-programmed in. Now we're going to give the tire a spin. Now the computer's analyzing the spin of the tire, so it's going to tell me exactly how much weight that it needs. So it's going to need 1/2 ounce on the inside, and then it's going to need 1 1/4 ounces on the outside. Now, I use stick-on weights like I had mentioned before. So let me get those. So we're going to do the outside first, which is basically, I use a laser to make sure that we have it like absolutely spot on. And I'm going to move the balancer into position. So it's calling for 1 1/4 ounces right here, basically right in the center of the spoke. So I'm going to cut this off. 1/2, 1, 1 1/4. Let me peel the adhesive off this. And so I look for the center of the weight for 1 1/4. And I basically use my finger as a mark. And I pull it down. And I know where I can mount that weight on the tire. And then on the outside, I need 1/2 ounce. So let me see if I got one in my collection up here. Yep, I do. I got a 1/2 ounce piece right here. So we're going to get that one off. And we are going to spin the tire until the machine tells us right there. So we're going to use the laser on this side to see exactly where we need that weight at. Right there. Oops. Weight fell off, so that means that that area had a sticker previously. So we're looking for another 1/2 ounce piece. We're going to have to put this a little bit further in so it doesn't mix in with the old adhesive. So right there. Alright, so we're good. Let's give it a spin and see how balanced we are. So if you want to come over on this side, we'll look. So we're completely zeroed out, so that tire is completely balanced. And we're going to put it back on a car now. On the Model 3. Alright, let's turn our lasers off. Okay. Slug nuts up. Put our lug nuts in place. Alternate the pattern. Now we're going to torque them. There you go. Brian from Rockwell Hall. Sorry about the compressor. Be safe out there.